Graph a line with a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of -1. Well, that tells me that, let's see, my y-intercept is -1. That's going to be on the y-axis. So here's -1. My slope is 2. And I know I can always put that over 1 so that I can think of it as rise over run. So my rise is 2. My run is 1. And there's my next point. My rise is 2. My run is 1. And there's my next point. To graph it, here we go. Good. Expected a positive slope. There's a slope of 2, and look, my line looks positive, so I know for sure that part's looking good. Write the equation in slope-intercept form for the line represented by the table below. Okay, I'm writing an equation. I'm going to write it in y equals mx plus b form. So I've got to figure out my slope, and I got to figure out my y-intercept, and if I can get those, I can golden, I can write that equation. Okay, so to figure out my slope, let's see. I know my slope is change in y over change in x. So let's pick any 2 points on the table if I know it's a line. And I've got -1 to 0. Let's see, I'm adding 1 there. I'm going from 7 to 10. I am increasing by 3. Okay, so my change in y is going to be 3. And my change in x is going to be 1. So my slope is 3. Okay, let's see if I can figure out my y-intercept. Y-intercept. Ah, that's where x is equal to 0. What I know about my y-intercept, that's always where x is equal to 0. So if I can figure out from this graph, or this table where x is equal to 0, I got my y-intercept. There it is. Here's x equal to 0. This is my point, 0, 10. So my y-intercept, which we call b in this equation, is 10. So my equation is y equals 3x plus 10. If you want to, you can check it by taking any ordered pair and seeing if it's true. Let's see. This is my y and this is my x. So it better be true that 16 is 3 times 2 plus 10. Is that true? Oh yeah, looking good. Checks out. A fishing lake was stocked with 300 bass. Each year, the population decreases by 25. The population of bass in the lake after X years is represented by the function f of x equals 300 minus 25x. Find the x and y intercept of the functions and describe and describe what they mean. Wow. Well, when I see the words x and y intercept here, I know for my x-intercept, that's where my y is 0, right? I know that for my y-intercept, that's where my x is 0. So I can actually use those values to figure out, to determine what the intercepts are. So let's talk about it. So f of x is the same thing as y. Same thing as y. So to find my x-intercept, it's where y is 0. So I can just put a 0 here instead of this y. So I get 0, 0 equals 300 minus 25x, and I will solve for subtract 300 from both sides. I'll get negative 300 equals negative 25x. I'm almost there. Divide by negative 25. Divide by negative 25, and let's see, 12. That means when my y is 0, my x has to be 12. That means on my graph somewhere it's going to be 12, 0. Remember, this is my x and this is my y. Bam, where y is 0, that's my x-intercept. To figure out my y-intercept, that's where x is equal to 0. So let's see. Y equals 300 minus 25 times 0. equals 300 minus 0. Okay, so y is 300. Now, if I was smart, which I am and you are, I could have told you that just by looking at the equation. Since it's in slope, since it's y equals mx plus b, in this case, these are just kind of reversed. I can tell just by looking at this equation that my slope is negative 25 and my y-intercept is 300. Yeah. But that's why I proved it. Now it says, describe what they mean. Well, let's figure this out. The population of bass after x years is represented by this function. What does this x variable here mean? X means the number of years, right? And y represents the total number of fish. So y represents the number of fish. So my x-intercept is where my y is 0. That means, excuse me, that means 12 is the number of years it's going to take until there are no more fish. After 12 years, there will be no more fish. See, both variables there, I've got years. Oops. I have years. And I have fish. Years and I have fish. Now my y-intercept is where my x is equal to 0. And my x is the number of years and the y is the number of the fish. So y represents at the beginning, or start, at year 0, there are 300 fish. And remember, at the beginning means my year is 0, right? So I have my years and I have my fish. Your y-intercept is always your starting point. So start out with 300 fish. Or take this slow. Go to the next video for the rest of the review.